I need a job. Like, what do I do?
Peter from State Farm. I can't imagine having
State Farm Auto Claims, Peter speaking. How may I help you? Just over. I'll forward you to the adjuster. State Farm Auto Claims, Peter speaking. How may I help you? Climb the corporate ladder.
How long were you there?
They fired me on the 3-month probation day. Wow. Yeah. Because I went to New York.
Yeah. Tell me that story.
Okay. So
you were in this insurance job, just not feeling it, but you were still doing magic stuff.
Still doing magic stuff. The fire alarm went off. The fire alarm went off at State Farm, and I was like, please be on fire. If there's anyone inside, God bless, good luck, but please be on fire.
Wow.
So they marched everyone outside, like single file, like cattle, like we're animals. And we all stood in like the terrace, like kind of like the front grass area, like looking at the building, and a fire truck rolled up. 2 fire trucks rolled up, 3 fire trucks rolled up. And I started to like have actual hope. Like, this place might be on fire. This might be the day that I get out. They were in there for like 40 minutes, Sarah. And I was like, getting a little nervous. Like, this is weird. Like, I just thought like they do drills and stuff like that. But like 40 minutes, 3 trucks were all standing out front. It might be on fire. So like naturally I was browsing the internet, checking out what was happening online, because you're outside, you know, with a bunch of adjusters and insurance people, just like having the most thrilling conversations. And I noticed David Blaine was doing something in New York, because he always does these crazy stunts, right? Like frozen in ice, drowned alive. And he was doing this thing called the dive of death, where he was hanging upside down in Times Square for like 3 days, and then he was going to do something crazy at the end. And I was thinking to myself at that point, like, man, wouldn't it just be so cool to like go to something like that instead of just watching it back on TV and like hearing about it? Wouldn't it be cool to be there? And I was like, well, New York's only like a 45-minute flight. It's like an 8-hour drive, but I could drive to Buffalo, and then it's like an even faster flight. So like the gears started going. When my gears start going, it's like I just like, good luck. Like it's locked in. It has to be done. It has to be realized. So I called my cousin and was like, hey man, and he's much younger than me at the time. I was like, Matt, do you want to go to New York? And he's like, well, when? I'm like, today. Yeah, like let me just ask my mom. And like goes and asks his mom.
How old are you during this time?
I was like, I'm going to say I was like 20, 21, maybe just 22. And he would have been like 17 or something, 16 maybe, like really young. And he was like, I'm allowed to go. And I was like, sick, like let's buy tickets and fly from Buffalo like into New York, and then we'll just like, where are we gonna stay? I'm like, well, whatever, we'll figure it out, fate will decide. So I went up to the supervisor and I was like, I hate to do this now. I've been trying to hold it as long as I can, but I really have not been feeling well. I don't know if just standing outside, it's just, and the keys
to this fire.
Yeah, you know? The fire's really got to me. The keys to swallow when you're doing that stuff. So it's not, you're like, I've got this thing, and it's just like, I'm really like, I was just thinking if I could take the rest.
Oh, that's
the rest of the day off, right? Without that, I was just thinking if I could take the rest of the day off. Yeah, it just doesn't, work. It doesn't work as well. So she was like, oh, you sound awful.
Oh, you look awful.
Take the
day.
Home. Take the day. And I was like, thank you, Brianna. Thank you so much. I don't even know if that was her name. But I took the day, got in my Mazda Protege, and we drove to Buffalo and flew to New York and had nowhere to stay. My uncle sorted all that stuff. But like, long story long, met David Blaine, actually met Donald Trump. He was at the event, and I told him he was fired when I shook his hand, because he was doing The Apprentice at that time, and he just didn't ignore. He ignored it. But I was on Conan O'Brien. It was like the greatest thing ever. I was on TV because I was like right at the front, because I actually have a tattoo of David Blaine's logo, which is like my favorite Ace of Spades design. So it actually is like a D and a B.
Yeah.
So when he saw that, he was like, let's get these guys VIP passes. And then I met all these people in the magic industry that I've always looked up to. And that was kind of like the doors opening.
You know what I love about that? All you had to do was be there.
Just go.
Like you just went. You booked the ticket. Yeah. I'm a big fan of speaking things into motion.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was the first time I really pursued the things that I loved.
Right.
Photo and magic. And I was like, I'm doing this. I don't care what the consequences are. This is what I love. So I'm going for it.
Like it was amazing.
So I went. It was great. I got back. Brianna, I'm just gonna call her Brianna. It sounds right. She was like, hey, like, can we just see you down the hall? That's the first thing right away. And I kind of knew at that moment. I was like, this doesn't feel right. And we walked. I was like, how's your weekend? Good. Like, that's not a normal answer. Like, that's a you're in trouble answer.
They know.
They know.
During this time, though, you're not posting on Instagram and
no,
Twitter,
I had a blog.
though,
I had an actual blog. It was called Hi, My Name is Peter.
Okay.
And
were you posting about your New York adventures?
But I didn't know anybody at State Farm. Like, I ate lunch in my car by myself.
Right.
I didn't go to like the cafeteria. Like, I was like a big loner. Like, everyone was
sad.
so much older than me. Like, I worked around like a bunch of like older women that would just complain about their husbands all day, and I would just be like, State Farm Auto Claims, Peter speaking. Like, so she opens the door and there's an HR woman at the end of the table. She's like, have a seat. And I was like, I'll just pack my things. Like, it's fine. She slides a folder to the end of the table. Like, this is CTU interrogation, right? Tony Almeida, Jack Bauer just slides the folder.
Tony Almeida. Yeah. Oh my God. You saying that name.
Yeah. Great name.
Yeah.
And I opened the folder, pictures of me and David Blaine. Printouts of my vlog, like of my blog.
They went there.
They went to that site. And they printed it out.
At least they cared.
Yeah.
You know?
So I remember that she's like, I just want to know what this is. And I remember saying, oh, that's just me and Dave. Like, name dropped.
We go way back, you know?
This is me and Dave. And she's like, oh, okay. Thought you were sick. And the response, this is what I said to her. This is what I actually said. I didn't realize I couldn't be sick further south from my home.
Wow.
Yeah. And right there, she cut me off and she was like, effective immediately, your employment with State Farm. I was like, yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah. So I went back to my desk, grabbed my Jack Bauer action figures, grabbed my little Fight Club bar of soap and all my little belongings, put them in a box.
You have Jack Bauer action figures.
I've got 2 on my shelf at home.
I love it.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
I named my kid Jack, actually, and my dog's name is Bauer. Fun fact.
Ugh, amazing.
Brought my stuff home, and that was the end. And I had to lie to my parents because I told them that State Farm approved me going to New York. So it's just like the crappiest thing about it was like my parents being like, "What happened?" And I was like, "They actually didn't approve me going to New York." And they're like, "I mean, it doesn't surprise us. Like, you got fired chasing the things you really care about." Right. So that's what set. Okay, the next job I get needs to be somewhat related to my interests, which spawned Apple. But then when that whole apple juice thing happened, I was like, okay, that's not going to work. What's the next best thing? Camera shop. That seems like it's what I'm interested in. I can see new gear coming in. I can learn about it. Maybe there's people there that have been doing it way longer than me that I can learn from. You get to borrow the gear, like brand new stuff. I could just take it home for as long as I wanted and play with it, and then like put it back on the shelf. Like, so long as you didn't like spit on it and drop it in like, you know, water and stuff like that. But it was great. And I learned so much from people there that had been doing it so much longer than me that I would never have got that knowledge. Like,
it's so different being there with a person to be able, like I had a lot of, when I was learning, I basically had a desk right next to the people who were making all the videos for the weekend at my church or whatever. So whenever I had like personal projects or I was working on stuff for them, I was just volunteering. Literally, I would have 5 minutes of every hour where I'd just be like, hey, I'm sorry, can you help me with this? How do you do this? And how do you do that? And I got so much experience in just being next to someone who like knew it. Yeah. I love learning online. I think there's so many good opportunities with people like you. Yep. But something's just different when you have a real person who is ahead of you in the field. Yeah. Yeah. It's huge. That's why internships, apprenticeships.
Exactly. So and then I made friends with other photographers that I never had before. I didn't have photography friends. And now suddenly I had like every employee of that shop was my friend. Yeah. We're going on photo shoots. We're helping each other out. We're learning from each other. I'm helping people learn stuff. Old, new, young, old. Like it was great. Yeah. So I worked there for 2 years and then I left to take an internship with a company called Still Motion. Which they were just like big wedding shooters, and they were starting to work with the NFL and shoot like the Army Navy games. And I don't really know what that is, but it's a big thing in the US apparently. They were doing that stuff, and they were working with Callaway and all these big golf companies. And I was their editor. It was just my job was to go through all their backlogged hard drives and just cut in and out points of any type of footage that was like salvageable. So I was like picking selects from like 4 years backlogged weddings. Wow. So just like, and that was when like you couldn't sync video and audio like automatically. Like you had to line it up by like waveform and timestamp, time code. You actually had to like, it was the worst. So you would like sync up the footage, make your in out points, put in your headphones, you'd start watching, and the vowels would start, make your in point, out, save, and just all day. And like they had steady cams and all kinds of cool stuff downstairs. And I was like, I just want to go play. And they're like, all right, we're flying to LA tonight. And I remember thinking, wouldn't that be the life? Yeah. Flying to LA to shoot something, to be paid to shoot something. Yeah. Wow. And then fast forwarding to that, I was already ahead because I worked at this old wood factory where like, you know, like crown molding and like baseboards and stuff. This company just produced baseboards and it's super lame.
I love, side note, the video you did with your buddy who does the wood and that was really
very cool.
What's
we
his
worked
name?
at the camera shop too. His name's Mike Clark. His company's Hook and Stem.
That's cool, yeah.
But we were at this wood shop and I remember it was right near the airport and my job was a conveyor belt would spit out a bunch of boards and this guy's job would be to measure them and he would mark it 10 inches. And then he'd measure another one 7 inches. And then I had 10 bins and I have to drag the 7-inch board to the 7-inch bin, then grab the 10, go back to the 10 and the 4 and do that all day. Jeez. Then their bell would go off and everyone would sleep for 15 minutes. And when everyone slept for 15 minutes, I'd crack the door open and watch the planes fly out of Pearson. I remember thinking to myself,
one day
I want to be on those planes.
Wow.
So it's just cool that like, I think being a YouTuber and being in like the position that both you and I are in, no one really gets to hear those stories because like we were there too.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting in a factory while people are sleeping, watching planes fly into the air. Like just like I want to get there. How do I get there?
Yeah.
And it was this manifestation of all of these years leading up to this point where it's like Philip Bloom, filmmaker, describes my story as you are an overnight success that took 29 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Whenever you think someone's an overnight success,
it's almost an insult.
Yeah. And it's like 9 out of 10 times, I promise you that's not the case.